You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rudrance for Black and White Sports. By the way, before we get to the rest of this video, the FBI is in Donald Trump's house right now. At his home, Mar-a-Lago. Man, unbelievable. Unbelievable. They won't get anything on the man. But anyway, I thought I'd throw that out. I thought I'd mention that. Look out for a video on Black and White Network involving that. Let's get to the teacher. The one that seems like he's going to be the guy left behind by Joe Biden's administration in much the same way as people and Americans that were left behind in Afghanistan. This guy is possibly going to be the odd man out. As of right now, haven't heard anything about this guy being included in a trade. His family is worried about him. In fact, let's just do that first. This is his niece.
My uncle is a really good man. He's, like I said, he's not just a devoted teacher. He's a husband. He's a father. He has kids that are in their 20s. I mean, he's needed at home. His punishment does not fit the crime.
His niece says she worries about the 61-year-old's health in a prison camp.
We can't speak to him. He doesn't get phone calls. We haven't seen his face, heard his voice. All we can do are write letters back and forth.
With Griner's prison sentence of 9.
Okay, so take that with you. Keep that in mind throughout that video. She did go on to say, quote, "I don't know how much it helps to hear what we're going through. We hope you receive all the help you can get. That's all we want is to get all of these American citizens who are detained home. That includes Paul Whelan. I feel like this is a strength in numbers situation. We support the release of all these Americans." And of course, right now what's on the table is Paul Whelan and Brittney Griner for the Merchant of Death, Victor Bout, and a Russian asshole to be named later. We don't know who it's going to be. We highly suspect it could end up being the murderer that's in Germany right now, that's convicted in another country. But we don't know that for sure. That's the rumor that's going on out there. But right now it looks like this gentleman, who is a U.S. teacher, he's an American educator, is locked up in Russia, has been over there since August 2021, longer than Brittney Griner. He's also much older than Brittney Griner. An American educator, and we'll just take a look at this. An American educator imprisoned in Russia said he feels, quote, hurt to be overlooked as the Biden administration works to bring Brittney Griner home, arguing that educators are, quote, at least as important as basketball players. That's coming from the man himself, Mark Hillard Fogel, 61 years old, who was arrested last August at Moscow's airport for trying to enter the country with about 20 grams of medical marijuana. There is a story behind that, by the way. He underwent some kind of surgery, and I don't know. He was using it for pain relief. I don't know how accurate that is. We don't know. I guess he knowingly knew he took it in. I don't know. Worries about his own fate after U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken revealed that the U.S. made a, quote, substantial proposal to bring home Griner and ex-Marine Paul Whelan. Quote, that hurt. Teachers are at least as important as basketballers. I agree. Fogel wrote in a letter sent to his home in Oakmont, Pennsylvania, of the news reports of the possible exchange for convicted, quote, merchant of death Russian arms dealer Victor Bout. Fogel was sentenced by a Russian judge last month to 14 years in prison. He's got 5 more years than Brittney Griner got. There he is right there. The outlook for any possible exchange to bring Fogel home looks bleak. His wife told the newspaper in her first public comments on the case, quote, there's a sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach that Mark will be left behind. Jane Fogel said, quote, "It's terrifying. I hope that President Biden, and especially the First Lady, Jill Biden, who is an educator," I'd use that term loosely, "realize the importance of including Mark in addition to Brittney Griner and Paul Whelan." A State Department official said the agency is aware of Fogel's case, but declined to provide any additional details while citing privacy concerns. The newspaper reported Fogel's name did not appear on a list of, quote, other Americans the Biden administration said it was working to free from Russia and other countries after the president had a call with Griner's wife. Quote, "It seems like the government is working really hard for Brittney Griner and Paul Whelan," Jane Fogel told the newspaper last week. "We want them to work for us, too." Fogel's niece, Sarah Grubbs, told the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette that the 14-year prison term equates, quote, "almost a death sentence for her uncle, who has battled chronic pain for years and endured multiple back and knee surgeries." Quote, "He wasn't smuggling marijuana with the intent to distribute," Grubbs told the newspaper. "He just wanted to control chronic pain so he can continue doing what he loves." That's something that a lot of 61-year-olds, I would suspect, are going through right now. Fogel was headed to Anglo-American School in Moscow, where he taught high school history for nearly a decade. When he was arrested, he plans to retire this year and return to Oakmont, the Post-Gazette reported. Quote, "It was crushing that they wouldn't try to bring them all home," one of Fogel's former students told the newspaper. "Now we are negotiating for hostages, so why selectively? What is it about adding Mark that is to the list that is so prohibitive? Fogel is not listed as, quote, wrongfully detained." What? I mean, really? So our American government will not give Fogel the same designation that was granted to Whelan and Griner. Griner's 31, who faces 10 years in prison, admitting that she had 0.7 grams of cannabis oil in her luggage while entering Russia. Okay, so we're talking about a 30-year age difference. All right, one's had multiple back surgeries and knee surgeries, and Griner is a professional basketball player. Okay. Griner testified Wednesday that she was unaware of how vape cartridges got into her bag and had doctors' recommendation to use cannabis to alleviate pain. It's unclear how long the two-time gold medalist trial will last, and this story actually came out right before she was sentenced. Of course, we know she got 9 years. Whelan was sentenced in 2020 to 16 years on espionage charges. Both he and his family have maintained his innocence as Washington denounced the charges as false. Asked about Fogel's case Friday and why Washington hasn't publicly pushed for the release, White House press secretary, who is worthless as tits on a boar hog, Karen Jean-Pierre, cited, quote, privacy issues, while saying she could not divulge more. But again, I just reiterate what we have said with wrongfully detained and U.S. nationals have been held hostage. We are going to do everything we can to get them home. Okay, so it sounds like, too, the Biden administration is playing a little wordplay here with Mark Fogel. It sounds to me like they refuse to label him wrongfully detained, but they labeled Brittney Griner wrongfully detained just like that? I mean, a moment's notice? What kind of privilege is that, I would love to know, after we find out vocally and so publicly that Griner shielded and voted for the Biden administration. And Brittney Griner's case has made it all over the media. I think this had like 3 or 4 stories floating around out there about it. The New York Post, the local news to his area. Wow, I feel bad that I missed it over the course of the last several days, that I missed this. I don't know how I missed it. Every day I'm looking at Brittney Griner to see what's going on there. And Paul Whelan and Russian prisoners. And I just happened upon this in the story earlier when ABC News mentioned this guy. Unbelievable. That's absolutely unbelievable. Now, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'm going to say, look, you brought marijuana, even if it was medical, into Russia, just like Brittney Griner, and you've been there for a long-ass time. All right? So, look, my issue with this is, look, you shouldn't have done that. All right? But why in the world is the Biden administration labeled Brittney Griner wrongfully detained, but not Mark Fogel when they got essentially nailed for the exact same offense? What's going on there exactly? Why is that? Because if I remember correctly in all of this since it started, they're not going to try to get anybody out that's not labeled, quote, wrongfully detained. So you labeled Brittney Griner wrongfully detained. Why? So you could grab her out publicly, bravely, stunningly, courageously for you and the media and all your Democratic buddies to see, but you refuse to label this guy wrongfully detained? Now, that's not right. And look, I understand we're having some issues with indoctrination in this country with educators and teachers right now. I get that. But my sister, 30 years teaching, she couldn't get more conservative, couldn't be more of a Trump supporter. I mean, ever in life, okay? So we got to watch that too. There are a hell of a lot of conservative educators out there too. I don't know what this guy's political affiliation is. Hell, he probably voted for Trump. Maybe that's the problem. I mean, I don't know. But it's certainly not right. And from where I sit with a 50,000-foot view looking down, being able to see it all I know is we've got an American teacher and educator that's 61 years old. We know a 14-year sentence. We know how that could end up. Okay? That's 75 years old. We know how that can end up. You know, she's right. This could be a death sentence for this man. But you're going to pull a 31-year-old WNBA player, a damn basketball player, out. You're going to pull them out before you pull this guy out. This is repulsive. Just when I feel like I cannot detest the Biden administration any more than I do, ta-da, it's a new day and I've got a new reason. Put another log on the fire, another shrimp on the Barbie. God, this is the worst administration in the history of planet Earth we've ever seen at president. And he seems to be all over the place with no rhyme or reason for doing anything. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Tell me what you think, black and white sports fans. Fair is fair. Fair is fair. Yeah, we're gonna need to know, why is this guy not, quote, wrongfully detained, but the brave, stunning, and courageous Brittney Griner is? Same offense, by the way. Older man, much longer sentence. Multiple back and knee operations versus a pro athlete in prime athletic condition. Somebody's got some explaining to do. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.